What's going on? Welcome to the 10th episode of the GameSpot podcast. I'm Kyle Sherman. He's John McFay. Say hi to the folks.
Hi. I guess.
We are here, switching up our format a little bit here in these last few weeks. Summer. It's tough to coordinate everything, so we've been kind of splitting things up, shooting 2 episodes at a time, in case you're wondering why this format is a little bit different than
in the past,
but we'll kick things off as we always do, John.
Mm-hmm.
What you been playing? What's been going on?
I'm packing. That's why the background has changed. I had to put something up real quick behind Kyle's head because, I'm great at putting things in the wrong spot. And I beat Wolfenstein a while ago. But that's not on this episode. You'll have to watch the next one. Played No Man's Sky next. We will get into that later. And more Pokemon Ultra Sun. I beat my first island trial challenge. I'm on to this next island. I think there's 4 if I remember correctly. And I downloaded a code and I got Entei on it. He's one of the dogs from Pokemon Gold and Silver. So he's the fire one.
Okay. It's been a long time since I played.
He's the one that's in the movie. The Pokemon movie. One of the Pokemon movies. The only one I saw.
Okay.
It's very
The first one? That's the only one I saw.
That's not true. I've watched another one since then because there's a Pokemon TV app and all of their stuff's free and it just cycles and so I'm like, oh, I'll watch that. I have nothing to do. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. How about you? What have you been playing?
Well, it's been a mix, really. Took some time off, took a week off for vacation, which is why this is coming to you late.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out at the lake for the last week and enjoying the sun and the water and trying not to roast. I actually took out my portable air conditioner for the week because it was hot. So, didn't get a lot of games played then, but before that, played a bunch of No Man's Sky next, played Wolfenstein, which, actually I don't think I've played Wolfenstein since we last
I was going to say, I know you watched me beat it, but did you beat it?
And then, been playing Mass Effect Andromeda, trying to beat that. Very close to the end of that. I looked at my play timer, and it's actually up there with all the other Mass Effect games, just because of the way I like to play. And
it's like 50 hours, 40, 50 hours.
Oh no, north of that, like 60.
Oh, wow.
So, good chunk.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I'm planning to play more No Man's Sky next.
Speaking of taking things slow, my Ultra Sun playtime clock is at like 12 hours, and you can easily get through the first trial at a lot faster than 12 hours. But I like to run around.
See, you like to run around and do all that stuff in Pokemon, whereas I like to do that in more of the...
I've been trying to catch all the ones in each patch, and so I'll run around 2 or 3 times, and then it helps you get over leveled, so then when you finally do go do the challenge, you just...
Gotcha. Well, yeah, so that's what I've been playing. I'm planning to, do more No Man's Sky next, and potentially get back to Horizon Zero Dawn, but, the clock is counting down towards September 7th. Or 6th or 7th? 7th.
Spider-Man, that's all I know.
Spider-Man, yes. So, when that comes out,
you know what else?
Everything else is dead to me.
I believe in September. Or no, not September. Well, it's on the list for next week. We'll talk about it later.
Alright. There you go, a teaser. So with that, we'll jump right into the news, and John, you have been our news guy.
We're just going to go down. I don't have the number of news items available for you, but we're just going to start.
Yeah, so we'll start with item number 1, and you say here, your note is EA wants to make a free first-person shooter.
Yeah, because, PUBG, actually that's not free. I lied.
Fortnite.
All the corporate people are like, ooh, hey, we can do that, except it's already too late because Fortnite did it. So congratulations on being a clone. I mean, you'll get some money, but you're not going to get...
Well, Fortnite's not a first person, it's, third person, but
Yeah, it's third person.
there's people that are hardcore about first person,
Yeah.
and that's
Fortnite
one
has
of
I mean, when you zoom in, at least on the sniper rifles, it becomes first person.
Right.
But, and then PUBG has a first person option.
Mhm.
So they're trying to get this free shooter craze thing going, which, the only reason Fortnite's is the way it is its art style. Most everything you have to, you can play to get unlocked. You don't necessarily have to pay to get unlocked. You do have to pay to get the battle pass to do the challenges to unlock stuff, but that seems to be fair for their audience. And then they only have one map, but they change the
They
map.
rearrange it a little bit.
Every stuff changes on it on a weekly basis, but then big things change
About once a
seasonally.
Or
I
a
think
month
it's
and a half.
8 weeks.
Is it 8 weeks?
It
That's
depends
about
on how
6
long.
weeks.
It depends on how long they want the season to be. But then they change things, and it becomes an event, and they're constantly finding ways to bring people in. Halo tried to do this a long time ago with the doing in the match when it's like, oh, get 3 kills with a jetpack on, or stick 3 people in a match with a sticky grenade,
Yeah, you and I tried to get
little
all
things
those.
like that. But those are really repetitive, whereas this is more scripted changes. So
Destiny did that as well
it's
with
less
their
repetitive.
challenges.
But that's because it's still Bungie, so they.
Yeah, I was
But yeah,
adding to the conversation, John.
yes. So go ahead, EA. Go ahead and do that. I mean, you already have what? Battlefield, Battlefront, and Respawn's Titanfall now. So sure, you need a 4th one, and it needs to be free because you've already diluted your own market base at this point. It doesn't. The whole thing of them wanting a free one didn't really make sense to me. Why? And I hope they don't take one of the ones I already have and make it free, because that would be horrible for Titanfall, and then Respawn would shut down, and no, we don't need that.
Well, here's what went through my mind. It's like, oh, cool, they're trying to, do that, whatever. They're trying to get in on that market, and good for them. But then another thought occurred to me too. This is EA we're talking about.
It's not really going to be free, guys.
Oh, no. So it may be free to play,
Free to start.
but if you want to win, you're going to have to shell out money. I can
Free to start.
damn near guarantee that.
Free to lose. We'll put it there. We'll name it that. Free to lose.
So, we'll see what happens, and like you said, they have plenty of shooters already, and
Mm-hmm.
the market in general has a ton of shooters, so we'll see what happens with it. I hope for their sake.
Battlefield. Yeah, Battlefield alone has different. It's like Call of Duty. Call of Duty has different subs in its lineup, and Battlefield has different subsections of its lineup. So, moving on to the next topic.
Nintendo.
They
took down 2, or they're taking
2
down
emulator sites. So what an emulator is, or a ROM, is where, let's say I have my Game Boy broke, but I really want to play Pokemon Blue. You could go download an emulator for your computer, technically legal, really not legal, not ever, but technically legal because you own a physical copy of the game. Still wishy-washy, not legal. Technically legal, but it's not. Anyway, we're done doing that.
We're not discussing morality.
So that you can play the game because you bought it, you purchased it, you technically own it, and you've given money that was requested by Nintendo to them, so no harm, no foul. Well, it turns out these 2 websites specifically were running ads on the website.
That is the kiss of death.
Yeah, so they were making money off of the website because they were getting ad revenue. It wasn't that they were charging for emulators, that would have got them shut down faster. It was that Nintendo found out they had ads on their website, and Nintendo doesn't like you to make money off of their property
IP, their
in any
IP.
way, shape, or form without their consent. So, that's why they got taken down, basically. People were upset about it. I don't really understand why. It was illegal, and someone got caught, and now you gotta pay the price.
I do enjoy a good emulator, though.
They're also asking them to pay a fee for every Nintendo emulator that was on their website, so they could end up.
They're
owning a
not
lot of
gonna.
money.
They're not gonna get that.
They're not
but
gonna
they're
get
gonna get
money.
a pretty good chunk of money.
They're not gonna get the
They're
money.
gonna get every dime
Yeah.
that company or the person that was running that has, essentially.
That they didn't already blow.
Right. Say anything that they have.
Yeah.
In their current bank currently, Nintendo's not gonna play nice on that one.
So if you're
If you want to do that stuff, just put it up. Don't do any ads. I know you want to make money, but you're making that. The reason it was shut down is because they were making money off of Nintendo's intellectual properties, whether it's their system, configurations or the games.
Some were thinking they were actually saying, oh, they want the emulators down because they're going to potentially put these games up when they do their online service in September, but I don't think that was why. I just think it's because the other people were making money.
Even if that was the case, it would. There's always going to be market.
$20.
Guess
Get it
what?
online and then you'll get it. So
there's probably more emulator sites out there.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
You can even do them on
Hey,
the phone.
it got me through my time in England. That N64 emulator.
I didn't want to drag my Game Boy around. I had a copy of Pokemon Blue. So I broke my iPod, the original Touch, and put Pokemon Blue on that. So, we've been there.
Yeah.
I just didn't do it for money, because that's weird. It's not yours.
Well, yeah, exactly. Alright, next item here.
Next, Xbox.
No, you skipped one.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's right. Hori, the company Hori, is making a new left Joy-Con that has a directional pad, and I'm just gonna say don't buy it. Because it's dirt cheap, it's like less than $30 if I'm remembering correctly. It's not, just go look it up.
They're only making the left one?
It's only the left one. It has no battery inside of it, so it's only to be used in handheld mode. You can't use it when you're playing on the TV, you can't use it in tabletop mode with it unattached. It has to be attached, so when you put your Switch into sleep, it drains battery from your Switch because it has no battery, so it's still actively pulling charge off of your Switch. So your Switch dies faster, and all you gain is the functionality of a D-pad and lose the haptic feedback because there's no rumble in it either. There's no Bluetooth, there's nothing.
I know they're a little bit more expensive, but just buy the actual ones from Nintendo.
And you'll get both for one price. And yeah, it won't have a D-pad, but if you really want a D-pad, go buy a Pro Controller.
They have them.
And then just play in tabletop mode. Or just get over it.
Yeah.
Or mod the one that you already own, which a lot of people can do, which is actually probably cheaper than... And if you're worried about breaking it, go buy another Joy-Con and then mod that.
Yeah.
Don't
mod the only one you have.
I guess wait and save up your money instead, would be my guess.
Well, okay, here, I'm going to skip over this next one because there's another story involving Hori, and that is them announcing new Mario, Zelda, and Pikachu themed GameCube controllers, but for the Switch.
Yep, I think these are wired as well. So, but they'll work with the GameCube adapter. And the GameCube adapter, I think, they're gonna come out with it again, but it's just gonna be a rebranding of the one that they had for the Wii U. So it'll just be a USB into the dock, and then it'll have 4 ports. And the 4 ports, if you have a Wavebird still, if you're lucky enough to still have a Wavebird, I gave mine away. But
It's a throwback.
that worked on there too.
That's a throwback.
The Wavebird was legit.
I think I borrowed your Wavebird for a while.
I think I gave it to Peter, and now he's gone.
Who knows where he is? I think it's in
Such is life.
Seattle.
They
But
look
I mean,
cool.
the main reason they're doing this is because of Smash.
Mhm.
I mean, that was the main thing. People wanted to play Smash with the GameCube controller. Why?
It'll have ZL and ZR buttons. Let's see. And then PDP. Oh, this is PDP, not Hori. PDP also announced that the C-Stick, you can pop it off and put on a traditional joystick, analog joystick top. So the C-Stick was the dumb nub.
Yeah.
You take that off and put another one on, which I thought was really cool.
That is.
It's almost shaped exactly like the original GameCube. It's just a little slightly different.
but they can't have it shaped exactly like the original.
But
one.
they did get licensing from Nintendo, so it's...
Well, otherwise, yeah, they wouldn't be able to use Mario, Zelda, or Pikachu.
It is dirt. It's as close as you can get, and it has the added functionality for the Switch, which is the home button, the sync, and the capture buttons, so you don't lose any of the buttons.
Any of the functionality.
Any of the functionality.
Yeah, so I mean that's cool.
So
I mean, if you want,
this is a way better option than buying that left Joy-Con thing.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want, there you go. If you want a GameCube controller for the Switch, they're coming and they're gonna feature Nintendo branding. So now to our next story, the one we skipped over.
The next Xbox.
And that is the next Xbox will reportedly have a traditional box and a streaming only box. And
so
you and I discussed this. You and I discussed this on our own.
Just the idea. They were kicking around the idea. It wasn't a full-fledged rumor.
Right. But I mean, we've discussed this possibility, and whether it's just Xbox or it was any console, and I still have, I guess, mixed feelings about it. So I mean, if you don't get what we're saying, it's that there'll be two versions of the Xbox. One that will have the traditional disk drive and hard drive, and then one that will have none of that. Essentially, a smaller hard drive. You have to have some hard drive space, and so it'll use the internet to stream the game.
The hard drive space is solely for
buffering and
system and what they need to stream the game together. Your game saves will be saved on a cloud system because Microsoft and Sony already do that. Scarlet Cloud, I think, is what the streaming box is called, and it does have some hardware in it to do some of the data from the game. So streaming, how it's traditionally worked, is a computer that the company owns that has a streaming service that's up to date with all the latest gadgets and doodads, graphics, processors, all that junk.
Yeah.
That I don't understand because I don't like to play computer games. That'll be like up to date, top of the line, and the game will be running on that, and you're just basically, your box is just the wired controller or wireless controller sending controller inputs back to the console, which is at the site that the company owns, and then it's relaying that information that you sent to it back, which causes a lot of lag. So they're using some internal components to get rid of some of the computing that has to be done on their end to help reduce the lag. And they've said that, it works, but we're in America and not everybody has awesome internet, so...
And this is what you and I talked about. Or what if my internet goes out? I'm not going to be able to play my game.
Yep, no.
If I want to play...
only, so if the internet's down at your house, you're done.
Just if we were using this current generation as an example. So Spider-Man comes out in September and we're hyped about it, right? If I have a streaming only box and all of a sudden power goes out for whatever reason, if the internet goes down for whatever reason, Comcast has an outage, all of a sudden I'm, SOL, being able to play this game I've been waiting for a year and a half.
That's exactly what will happen, which is why they're doing a regular console on top of the...
I imagine the streaming box will be cheaper.
It's going to be cheaper. It's not going to be...
But the question is how much cheaper.
It's going to be, my guess is like $150, $200.
I'd say...
And the new Xbox will be
I'm going to think
the traditional $400 or $500.
I'm going to say it's only going to be $150 less than whatever the list price is. So if it's a new $400 unit, it'll be $250. If it's $500, it's going to be $350.
And if it's $150 less, I would not want to buy it.
No.
Because it's
essentially
just another streaming box when I already have multiple streaming boxes.
Well, and I want to be able to play my stuff offline. Like, I don't have internet out of my lake cabin, and sometimes I go out there by myself and I want to play games at night.
And a 4K Blu-ray drive would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, not for me, but I mean, if that's what you're interested in a streaming only box for a little bit cheaper, good for you, but
You're
I'm
probably only going to be getting full advantage of it if you're in a highly metropolitan area.
With high speed fiber optic.
Google Fiber is what I'm guessing.
Fiber optic cable.
But this is this company that put broadband Ethernet ports into the original Xbox when broadband wasn't even really reliable at the time, and they made it work. They're trying to future proof. This is them. This is me guessing that they're future proofing because this is gonna come out in a couple years, but then it'll also be around for 5-6 years. So by then it could be a lot better.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess still mixed feelings about that, but I mean,
it is
Microsoft is willing to try it out at least.
And at least they're giving you the option to have a regular box.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next piece of news here: Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a board game. Statues of the animals and some of the characters.
Yep. So the developers said it was going to be canon, and then they backed off on that. I think because, it's a board game. They probably don't expect everyone that played the game to go buy the board game, but it's going to be, I'm sure, with some dice mechanics, Dungeons and Dragon-esque-ish type, maybe. But it looks cool. It's even got the giant T-Rex thing with the rockets. Those are all like plastic statues, and it's huge. So it's gonna be a big board. It'll probably be expensive. Speaking of expensive, Gloomhaven, top-rated board game of all time, which is over $100. Very rare to find. Apparently came out in 2016. It's getting a video game adaptation to be released in early access on Steam. I did not see anything about it coming to PlayStation or Xbox.
Consoles.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Gloomhaven other than you putting here in quote top-rated board game of all time.
It's when it came out, it just hit the top of the charts, and now lots of people are trying to make $100+ board games, which the developer of Gloomhaven says they're just kind of ripping you off because he only made this game over $100 because it has a lot of pieces and it's got a lot of actual content. It's a big board and it's a big game, so it's got lots of scenarios that you have to go through, so that's why he was charging people that, not that he wanted to make more money.
Yeah, not just jump on it's more expensive, so it's going to be better. Not always true.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess cool that they're adapting that for video game adaptation, but if it's only on Steam, I will not be playing it because we've expressed our feeling about computer gaming many times. So we'll just go ahead and jump to the next item, and that is one of the creators of Magic is making a new card game that will have unique decks, and no decks will be identical, right?
None of them. And they're even going to have, each deck's going to have its own color variant and pattern for the back, so that you know that card went with that deck. So if you try and take your cards from like 5 decks and mix and match them, you're going to be easily identified as a cheater. So I don't know why. I'm sure there'll be a tournament that allows you a tournament at some point, but what sounds like is going to happen is his style of play is it's going to be $10 a deck. And
which is actually really reasonable.
Unique random decks. So what he means by unique is, there's going to be repeat cards, but
the collection will not be.
But the full deck, there's not. You're not going to find another deck that has the exact same cards in it. So there'll be even rarer ones, and there'll be non-rare stuff, and as always. But I think this lends itself better to like random tournaments.
Yeah, if you're looking for more controlled, like...
Obviously, people are going to say that's an unfair advantage if you get a bad deck in a tournament, but that's the risk you're going to run, which I think they'll have 2 formats. One is like you made your own deck, and then one is the traditional random deck tournament.
You won't be able to load that deck.
Mm-hmm. And he's just finally, the technology's come up to where he can do this because, he's printing lots of different... It's not a lot of replicas, so the manufacturing process has got to be insane, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean...
For all the different colors and patterns and everything.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly goes into printing those types of cards, but...
That machine must be able to change on the fly.
Yeah, it would have to, because I'm sure there's a computer randomly generating, it's like, okay, there's these sets of cards, I need so many cards from this group, I need so many cards from this group, on and on, till you get that full deck, and then...
And it's a lot...
It'll compile that, and then it's going to print that all together, keep it all together.
It's a lot like Magic. It has 7 houses, and each deck will have a random version of 3 different houses in it with their monsters and whatever it is that makes up the deck. And that was the last bit of news from San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, look at that. Through the news already, and it hasn't even been a half hour. Let's, you kind of said it off the top. Let's talk a little bit about No Man's Sky Next and our experience with it so far. We haven't necessarily played it a ton. I've probably played it more than you, but...
So it had base building before. It's way better now, because you can actually build your base anywhere. And I finally figured out how to do that. It was retardedly easy. Because you have the base computer, and then you just set the base computer down, and then that whole area in X miles
becomes
the
area.
base building area. So you can actually build like multiple mini bases, like a little village base, or you can build a mega base, which is cool. There's an actual furnace. It's called a refinery. So you do refinery stuff now. So it's gotten a lot more Minecraft-esque. And then there's random, very shallow missions in it. But the best part about it is, I can see Kyle, and Kyle can see me. And we can trade stuff back. Any item, any amount, whenever we want. People need to understand that that's what needs to happen in their games. Any item, anytime, anywhere, even for nothing.
You were looking for something, and I gave you a stack.
I needed, it turns out we had to refine it after we figured it out, but I needed copper or whatever.
Oh yeah, well then it was like, but like you literally just go in your inventory and hit triangle like you were gonna move it to your starship or whatever, but and then the last option is like, oh, give to the player nearest you, and it says their name, so you're not just giving it to some random schmo who may join your game. So I mean that was really handy, and it was fun actually being able to see you. You did experience the day we played it the most. You did experience some PSN issues, not No Man's Sky server issues. It was PSN as a
lots
whole.
of people, yeah.
Yeah, I mean to the point where PlayStation put out a statement about it.
They put a warning up saying that the PSN was down.
So,
but it got resolved within 2 hours. So.
Yeah. So I mean, it was fun getting to do that. I got to see where you'd been hanging out, that planet Camino. Upgraded the pack a couple times.
Yep, we had to relearn how to do everything.
Yeah, it was like it had been a long time since I'd played, so it was. I kept having to ask you, and you played it more than I did on the initial run.
I had played an initial 20 hours before I put it down.
I played it, I think 8.
Yeah.
Which for me to only play it 8 hours is kind of.
It took me about 40 minutes, but then I figured it out, and then Kyle was asking me stuff, and I was just rattling it off, why did you not know that already?
Yeah.
And apparently
felt a lot of judgment. Felt a lot of judgment from John on that, but since then I've kind of gotten the hang of things. I still don't know how to do everything, but
if you did figure some stuff out before me though, which was nice.
And I got a new starship.
Yeah,
which John hasn't done. Actually, I got a new multi-tool as well.
Oh, the gun?
Yeah. I have a Class B.
So I had found one before I quit, so that was still there, thankfully, which made it better.
So, but the thing was, with both that and the ship that I found, which I found a crashed ship on a planet in your system.
I know, I was a little upset about that.
This was after he got booted, and I went to go meet Jordan on the planet he spawned on. My cousin Jordan was playing with us as well, and I saw a distress signal, so I checked it out, and it was a crashed Class B starfighter, and it still has a lot of issues. I had to repair it, so I had to...
It takes a while.
It does.
Rather than spending the money, which takes even longer, he repaired it, which is faster.
And as I figured things out, so gold was one thing. I was like, where do I get gold? So I mean, you get some from shooting asteroids.
Some of those metals are only in space.
Right, gold. But then on one of the planets in my area, there was a formation. I was actually going to get copper from a copper deposit, which copper is now found in the giant. And I guess I realized the terrain manipulator is a lot like how the game was originally, where it breaks the actual thing apart.
The terrain manipulator is what it
originally
was.
Yeah. So yeah, now there's two different tools for mining.
But the terrain manipulator lets you build terrain again, which it didn't do, which is way better.
Right. But I was going to get some copper, and I just ran into these random gold fingers. They were called gold fingers, and it was deposits of gold like sticking up in the air, and there was like 5 of them.
You found a planet that had the refined resource deposits in the air?
No, it wasn't in the air. It was in the ground, but it was just like sticking up.
Kind of like.
So it was kind of like 5 fingers. Like this is the ground level here.
It's like Utah desert type thing.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a stalagmite sticking up.
I guess. Yeah.
But it wasn't in a cave. It was just out in the open, and
so.
Oh boy, there was a lot of gold in that.
So
but I learned that if you leave one, I found multiple of them on the same planet in my area. You might have to come visit my game.
Okay.
If you want some gold.
Could you like rename the planet for me and then upload it? Because that would be helpful.
I could rename it.
Yeah.
But then if you join my game, you can.
I can see what.
Come to that planet. Yeah.
I can't name it because you found it because it was undiscovered.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, that hasn't been too bad. So, and I figured out, how to find copper and all that stuff to make all the subtle things. And so the ship, I only had very few spots available that weren't damaged. So even storage spots, just random open spots, were damaged and had to be fixed in order to access them. Yeah. So, but now I've, found a bunch of copper and refined that into the whatever type of metal, the
space metal.
Yeah, whatever, cosmic or chromatic metal. Chromatic metal, which copper you use in the.
Chromatic metal is a lot of different metals can make chromatic metal, and it's kind of like the main thing in the game.
It's one of the important ones.
One of the base ones that you use for a lot of things.
So, got a bunch of that. Got gold to kind of. That was the other half of it. So I'm opening up a lot of things, and the blaster was the same way. I got the new multi-tool, and he just like traded. A random alien just traded with me, and
nice.
And it was like, okay, but it had spots that were broken. Yeah. So
they always have spots that are broken.
So it's kind of, I guess, a different mechanic.
If you buy it outright.
I did jump to a new system.
I don't know if I have fuel to jump to a system again.
It's really easy to make. You just have to make antimatter and antimatter housing.
I've been making antimatter to make the base though, so I'm trying to make the base.
And I also
put a teleporter on so I can go to the space station.
That's helpful.
And since I have a teleporter, I can use it to teleport between systems. Yeah. So once we make another base on another system, we can. Boop, boop, boop.
So if I made a base in my system, you came into my game and you used that.
I could use your base. I think, potentially.
If we were in the same game.
If we were in the same game and we were partied up, I think is what the deal is.
We'll have to try it, but. Long story short,
way better.
It's way better. It's fun. Like even playing by myself is a lot more entertaining than it was the first time around. And yes, some of the mechanics are weird, like having to refuel things. But once you figure out how to get those things, life becomes a lot easier. Like how to make, Starship launch fuel, and how to make also uranium. You can just use to refill right away. So I found a bunch of uranium at one point, so now I don't have to make Starship fuel, launch fuel, constantly.
So does this make? There's no microtransactions that I can find. No. So does this make your purchase price of $60 feel better?
Better. It's better. I still feel like maybe $40 would have been.
Do you feel okay with spending the $60 now?
Yes. Before I was like, man, this was such a waste of money. Now I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying this now. It's something I can go back and play kind of randomly wherever. Although I did find when I switched back to Mass Effect. Because I played that a lot before I went on vacation, was No Man's Sky. I kind of stepped away from Mass Effect, and then last night when I got back, I back to play Mass Effect. I kept clicking the right thumbstick to sprint.
Oh no.
And that does not.
Yeah.
It just recenters the camera, so it just made it awkward. So always be aware when you switch between games like that. But
I'm well versed in switching between games.
Yes, you are.
I do that a lot. So.
What about you though? I mean, you asked me.
I liked the I felt like it was fine when I bought it, but I knew what I was getting into. I was just expecting it to be like, I just want to go onto a planet, find a new planet, find a new system, go down. I finally found some dinosaur-like creatures, which is what I was hoping to find before, so I was like happy about that. But I was in the system I'd left off in, so if I had just landed, I would have found them anyway in the beginning. I think it's way better. I think it makes me feel better about that company.
Oh yeah.
I think that if
They listened to a lot of people's complaints and they fixed it.
I think that if they do something again, even if it's newer and not related to this, I would like have more, I guess, faith in putting down money, because I know that they'll eventually, even if it's not exactly up to par, they'll try and bring it up to par. I think they've learned the lesson that they'll probably try and make sure that something's up to par the next time though, because they kind of learned that lesson the hard way.
Well, they definitely set that date and then they didn't want to push it, and I think that kind of hurt them too. I mean, the flooding set them back of their studio, and then...
This could have been done a year ago. It could have been done a lot sooner, we don't know. But this leads into our topic, which is the topic of the show. And it's, what's the right way to do updates to a game? Because there's tons of ways to do updates. We've explained verbatim the No Man's Sky. The next update is one of numerous updates they've been doing for 2 years for free to fix things that are wrong with the game, add new things. Base building was not a thing. You didn't have ground vehicles, you do now. All of these things, we haven't gotten those, but they're there. All those things are new additions to the game that weren't there at the original purchase price. And then you have Fortnite, which the Battle Royale mode is free with tons of updates every week. Then we have things on the other side, like lots and lots and lots of Ubisoft games, which I actually did play Far Cry 5 again this past week, and I felt less happy about it going back after playing No Man's Sky, which was free, because in Far Cry 5 you get blasted with all these, hey, here's all these updates. You needed the season pass. And I was like, ah.
Which, I don't know, to me, Far Cry, a story-driven game...
I was having fun with the story, but I just felt like it was.
But it's single player for the most part.
You can have someone join you.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know why you need to buy DLC for that unless it's like a significant story DLC, and I don't want to be blasted about that. And that is one thing that drives me insane about Ubisoft, is every time you log in, you get that. So I mean, like, I love Assassin's Creed, but
it makes you log online first.
Yeah,
and then you get dumped into this end page, and select to go into the game.
Yeah, and I mean, that happened with Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, or...
That's why I said it's a Ubisoft thing. Cause
it's one of my least favorite things about Ubisoft. I enjoy their games, but that I do not.
And then you have things like Destiny, which I'll let you explain why we don't like that. Or why I don't like that.
Okay, well, the thing with Destiny is... the thing that frustrated us is the fact that those areas are in the game already. But they're just blocked off until such time that they decide, okay, we're going to roll out this DLC now.
What was the other thing that frustrated us?
The changing currencies and resetting of armors and things like that.
Mainly because we had kept playing old content,
grinding
storing up currencies, hoping, or I guess naively assuming that it would let us access things faster when we do the update. But they were like, no, we want you. All of this stuff, all of these updates, all of these live services, they're all an attempt to keep you with them as a company and in their game.
In the first raid, I mean, how many times did we do
We had
that one?
We had weekly raids, so we did that for like three straight months.
Yeah.
Which we would have never done.
But I never got the complete set. That's the thing.
No, and I got the complete set on 2 raids.
I didn't get it on the first one. I did get it on the second one, the one where you...
In the
one where we cheated.
Yeah. This is the weird zombie people. We don't like this game that much that we forgot the name of the things.
But yeah, where there was it was a little bit broken where if you activated the first...
You could skip the light maze, is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then there was a break in the second one.
Yeah.
Where you climbed up to the very top of the thing and sniped. You had to have people down below, but
yeah,
you could snipe across and take out everybody that you needed to take out without actually being in danger of being shot.
So anyone who had the icebreaker was in charge of sniping. Me. And I got it way later.
See, and that was the thing, like, the icebreaker was a great weapon because it was endless.
And I only got it because they put it up on sale from the Agent of the Night.
But that weapon.
Yeah.
And so many other weapons we grinded to get.
And we grinded to complete the level, and then when we downloaded the update, they became useless.
And like those ones that we worked so hard to get, they should have allowed us to upgrade to.
They did allow us to upgrade them, but they
weren't
upgraded them to their base, a higher base level, and then you had to re-grind to unlock the things
Right.
you'd already unlocked, which made no sense to me. And then Destiny 2 comes up, and starts off great, has a really bad microtransaction fiasco and shader fiasco, and then 2 updates that suck, and this new update that's supposed to fix everything. So I was looking at going back in, and in order to be able to play The Forsaken, I need the original 2 updates. So I basically need to spend $100, and I was just not doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's pointless.
So these things, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there's ways to do things that can make your whole player base feel better towards your company and better towards your game in a positive light, and there's ways that you can do updates that alienate people who aren't already going to buy everything you put out ever.
Well, another thing, like we bought the first set of DLC for the original Destiny,
And
so
then,
we were all gung ho. But then because of what happened with them,
and we'd already given them money for that, so it was
Right.
we were already going to get it, and we played it at the same time. But the way they implemented it made us feel bad about purchasing it. So there were 2 more updates for that game after that we did not buy.
yeah, well, and that was because it was like, okay, you made all the grinding we did before the DLC came out pointless,
Yep.
and then all the grinding we did after the first DLC came out pointless.
Yep.
So after the second one ended, after we got our fill out of that, and the third one came out, and we're like, nope, see ya.
It almost makes me as a consumer feel like in order to play a game I'm excited about, I either have to pay a whole bunch every time they do an update, or wait and listen to other people potentially have fun, and then buy a Game of the Year-esque type edition. With Destiny now, they could be 2-3 years from now. Because they're still going to do updates. I mean, I don't know if they're going to do a Destiny 3. They might not. They might just say, okay, we're going to stick with Destiny 2 and just update the crud out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I think is actually a healthier business model for that type of thing. It's like you create all these different things. Okay, you can venture to a new planet. You can venture to different things and like areas, new areas. Like so, instead of building a whole new game, build a whole new area that's part of the DLC.
Like World of Warcraft does.
Yeah.
That you can't access even remotely or glitch into until the patch happens.
Yeah, you were super happy about that, glitching down into that area and then
I was like,
finding it.
We hadn't even had the game for a month, and I found an area that was eventually unlocked 9 months later. And I was like, that's
Fully
stupid.
built out already.
Fully built out. I was like, I've already ran through half of this new area. It just didn't have enemies in it at the time.
So, I think, long story short, for both of us, I think we're both in agreement that the way to do these updates is you either need to maybe go call them expansions, not do a new game every single time, and then roll out 4 DLCs. Instead of doing that, just roll out expansion packs.
And maybe
Call them expansion packs or whatever, if that's the way you want to go with that sort of thing. Or, and if your game does struggle initially and you do take a hit like Hello Games did, they earned so much goodwill from the people sticking with it, fixing a lot of their issues and making it multiplayer accessible. And
the first few months was, people heckling them about fixing things.
Death threats. They got death threats.
It is really bad. But then the longer they continue to stick with it, and they're not making extra money. There's just no microtransactions. They're not. The only way they're making money off of it right now is if some new person wants to jump in and buy it. People aren't rebuying it. That's kind of silly. So yeah, and if you're gonna do the World of Warcraft route, your expansion needs to be huge.
Worthwhile.
And their expansions are
And not completely undo everything that
$20
people
or
worked for.
$40, but they add 30, 40 hours of gameplay, roughly, on average.
Which that's good money for your
And their
time.
people don't always stay in. And granted, this is a subscription for service, so they're already paying $15 a month upfront every month they want to play, so their player base ebbs and flows with their new expansions, so they expect that. They don't make people upcharge every time. It's just, do you want to play right now? We got something new.
Yeah, I mean, different strokes for different folks, but I think overall, just call your stuff what it is going to be. Call it an expansion. Don't call it.
If it is an expansion, it needs to be big.
Yeah, and
don't
make it
call
worth
it
the
an
money.
expansion and it's 3 hours of junk.
Well, what was the? It was the second expansion where it was just like the tournament stuff, like where you just fought in that arena.
Which was an area that was teased in the trailer
Yeah.
for the original game before it came out.
Back to Destiny, and that was the one that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like, okay, I want to be able to have more story, not just go into arena, fight and fight and fight and fight.
It was just a glorified horde mode.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't have paid just for a horde mode. I wanted additional story, going to different planets, and or doing different maps and different actual missions. So, be honest about what you're giving the people. Make it worth their money, and then if you do mess up, take a page from Hello Games and work hard to fix that problem. Don't just sweep it under the rug and move on. I think Battlefront did a lot of that.
Battlefront, yeah.
They fixed some things
props to
from
EA.
1 and 2.
It was really bad at the beginning, and by the time I finally broke down and bought it, it was 98% of the stuff people were complaining about didn't exist anymore.
So EA, yes, they were their typical selves initially, but at least at that point, the Battlefront team was like, no, we need to fix this. And
it's Star Wars. They probably would have got their license revoked if they didn't license revoked.
But anyway, who knows?
I hope so.
Anyway, that's my moral of the story. So,
Final thoughts.
Just make your game worthwhile.
My final thoughts are, to Destiny specifically, you already have 2 areas of the game that you can easily update and rotate and switch out and change, which is PvP. You can have a tournament playlist that rotates on a seasonal basis. You can have the overmaps of your areas in Destiny, all of the I can't remember what they call them, but like stuff drops down, you gotta kill a spider tank, or
Public events.
public events. Thank you. You should make your public events rotatable on a weekly basis, not rotate hourly or whatever. You have those 3 types of public events on that map for a week, and there's varying degrees of difficulty during the day, and then a week later you have 3 different ones, or the enemy types change, or they're in a new location that they haven't been in ever, something like that.
I think that all is very fitting. So that'll wrap things up for this week. Again, we're switching the format up, so we will have in our next episode a couple more news items, but then we're going to take a deeper dive into Wolfenstein and kind of our thoughts on that game and
our topic of the show.
Yeah, as that as well. So be sure to check that out. We're going to try this out for at least a couple more shows, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how busy we are in the fall, and we may switch back to monthly, but this may be the way we go going forward, shooting 2 at once, just because we're both kind of all over the places, and you're moving, and I'm probably going to be moving within the next couple of months, and
ideally.
Yeah, just, it depends where I'm working and that sort of thing, so just bear with us. We'll do our best to get everything out on time, and if we don't, just wait a day or 2 and it'll exist.
Magic will show up.
Yeah, so that'll do it for this episode. He's John McVeigh.
He's Kyle Sherman.
See you next time.